Dana Bash, also known as Dana Fash, interviewed Francesca Hong on CNN. And they, of course, presented it as why the GOP spent $3 million to help this Democratic Socialist win. In Wisconsin, some of those people are actually Republicans. Is my audio much lower than the videos? Because they think that you're beatable. So much so that they spent around $3 million to boost your candidacy in this Democratic primary race. How will you convince swing voters who think you're too far to the left to support you? Oh my God. I hate this. I hate that there is this like established fact narrative around this concept where it's like, well, don't you think, like, look, the underlying premise here that Dana Bash is explaining or bringing up as though it's just like firmly established facts is your worldview is far too radical. This is a swing state. Your worldview is far too radical. Like, we're not even going to discuss that. We're not even going to discuss whether or not that is a real issue, a real concern. We're just going to jump over and we're going to establish it as a real concern. What's your, how are you going to alleviate this real concern? The way that I ask this question oftentimes is, what do you say to people that claim that you're far too radical for a state like Wisconsin? Dana Bash is not doing that. She's moving past that point to literally say, everyone knows that you're far too radical for Wisconsin. How will you win over the moderates? What will you do to pivot to the center? Why are these things established facts? Why is this the way to win? Why is this the method to win? Especially when it's, lost this past election cycle. As part of the reason why these left flank candidates, these Bernie-crats, are actually doing quite well in these primaries. And the Democratic Party is in a state of panic.
They also know that their candidate is one of the weakest candidates that they could put forth. Tom Tiffany is an election denier and traitor, and he supports a national abortion ban as well as losing health care and supports Americans losing health care, millions of folks across the state. I think with more moderate voters that we recognize that this moment is not just a movement moment, but our coalition continues to grow, and our coalition is bipartisan. Republicans with Hong signs in their yard, that our folks are in rural, urban, and suburban communities. It is incredibly exciting that an Organizing First campaign continues to help communities grow their organizing skills as well and come to support our campaign. You have been distancing yourself from the National Democratic Socialist Platform. I heard you in an interview this morning doing that most recently. In that interview on Fox, you said you don't support, for example, abolishing the Senate.
Look at this. It's always drama. Oh, you're distancing yourself from the National Democratic Socialists of America campaign. Isn't there drama? Why do you hate the DSA? Is it because you're trying to cynically moderate now? First, we established that, you're already a dangerous radical for the swing state, and you're going to lose the Democratic trifecta, selfishly. Local news wrote about it. Hannah Schroeder. Francesca Hong holds campaign rally in South Milwaukee, August 2nd. U.S. Rep. Ilhan Omar, left-wing commentator Hasan Piker, and gubernatorial candidate Francesca Hong stand together on stage at the conclusion of the Hong rally in South Milwaukee High School on August 2nd. Shannon Rupert and other supporters cheer on speakers. It's just photos. You got her parents on there. It's not an article. They didn't write anything about it. It's just photos. No, it is the wrong link because it's just a picture gallery. I just want to say that Fran winning shows the power of the online left combined with strong local DSA chapters as her entire campaign. We did this chat. Yeah, it's true. I mean, Francesca Hong did not get any major national left endorsements. It was just a people-powered campaign from the start to finish in the primaries, with one exception, of course, Ilhan Omar. But yeah, it is pretty crazy. It's more so just a testament to the power of the local DSA's ground game out here. But it's interesting. Change your tie. No, I'm not going to wear white on white. South Milwaukee, Francesca Hong, a Democratic Socialist who's cementing her frontrunner status in the Democratic primary for governor, walked into her Sunday afternoon rally wearing a signature blue pantsuit and grooving to Wisconsin anthem Jump Around. At the podium, Hong could barely get any words over the cheers of the attendees. That's my governor, one shouted with 10 days to go before the August 11th primary. Throughout the 2-hour event, Hong and other speakers sought to challenge the question looming over her campaign. Can Hong translate her grassroots fervor into beating Tiffany? When people want to fight for something together, when they see something they believe in, and they start to believe in one another, I think the Dems are going to have to write a new playbook here, Hong said. Regardless of where your political home may be or how you identify, this is the moment where we must convey and win power for the majority, and that's working class people, she said. Hong's on-stage guests included U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar from Minnesota, who endorsed Hong in April. and left-wing commentator Hasan Piker, who's divided Democrats for previous comments that critics call anti-Semitic and anti-American. But the crowd was fired up for Piker, with some attendees seated in chairs writing for a standing ovation. He alluded to the state's sewer socialist history, saying Wisconsin is where the American socialist movement began, long before Zohran Mamdani and Bernie Sanders. The good people of Wisconsin always knew that this wasn't about scary ideas, and it was just about a working-class movement that wanted to help out one another, Piker said. A Republican will never be elected in this state again once our movement is done. Hong joined Piker in his Los Angeles studio in June to appear on his Twitch stream. She raised around $60,000 from that event. Piker indicated that at the time he could travel to Wisconsin to campaign for Hong. Piker said August 2nd he campaigned for U.S. Senate candidate Abdul El-Sayed in Michigan the day prior. Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley, who is now running in second place behind Hong, was the first Democrat in the race to say he would not appear with Piker, calling Piker's comments beyond the pale. Oh my God, I forgot. He said that, and then he dropped out because he was at like 6%. We take those. That's another one. That's another Mallory McMorrow situation. Francesca Hong, choosing to campaign with individuals who said America deserved 9/11, called communism an honorable end goal, and believed capital should be killed is certainly a choice, Tiffany said in a statement. Tiffany previously tied Omar's endorsement to his argument that Hong would turn Wisconsin into Minnesota. Yeah, just unfiltered racism, silly reactionary takes. Ilhan Omar has built a career of trashing our country and representing the worst elements of the Democratic Party. Francesca Hong is proud to stand right beside her. Wisconsin voters see that for what it is. Insane. Republican Governors Association Communications Director Colin Crompton said in a statement. Piker, introducing Omar, said she was framed as a villain far before I ever got on the scene. Omar said that like her, Hong would become the first woman and Asian American elected Wisconsin governor. Hong is not running to make history, but because she knows people in Wisconsin need a relentless fighter in their corner, Omar said. Crowd skews young, including first-time voters and rally goers. Look at that. Inside the gymnasium, attendees skewed young and mostly under 40. In the latest Marquette University Law School poll, 66% of voters aged 18 to 29 support Hong. Her campaign counted 1,300 RSVPs. Supporters flocked to the merch table for the blue and green t-shirts and took selfies in front of a neon sign that read Hong, proudly serving Wisconsin. Malik Johnson, a local Grammy-nominated cellist, performed Hall & Oates, You Make My Dreams Come True, the pre-rally playlist including plenty of dance hits and MIA's Bad Girls. Looking around this rally, I see students, first-time voters, I see young organizers, people who refuse to accept that politics has to stay the way it has been, said Wisconsin Muslim Civic Alliance Executive Director Fauza Qureshi, the first speaker. Aliyah Hemaidan, who just graduated from high school and will vote in her first election this fall, said she's excited that the first vote I ever do is for somebody that I actually believe in, citing Hong's policies on data centers, childcare, and higher education. Governor Tony Evers, he was really good for the time, but the times are shifting, Hemaidan said. To have him step down and have somebody continue the road into progressiveness, it's huge. Cassandra Harlan, who was attending her first political rally, said Hong showing signs of moderating her message on the debate stage in an interview is a formula that happens with politicians. They can meet somewhere in the middle. I just like the fact that she's kind of antagonizing the right people, Harlan said. I feel like any woman who wants to make history, she can't be well behaved. True. Rally comes as Hong cements front-runner status, moderates message. I like that is, they're going to shift that no matter what. They're going to be like, no, she's moderating her message. To be fair, I don't place a lot of emphasis on pie in the sky idealisms that come from candidates or anyone really. That's why I'm like not as that's why you won't catch me freaking out about people saying like defund the police or even abolish prisons or whatever. It's just like the realm of possibility is an entirely different reality than like what is within the realm of possibility is very different. I also understand that it doesn't mean like literally emptying out the prisons tomorrow. Hong's lead in that poll, Mandela Barnes, who was running in the second place behind Hong in the latest Marquette poll, dropped out the race last week. His decision came amid reporting from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel into allegations that Barnes taken advantage of his role in the party to have sexual encounters with young adult women. Hong's lead in that poll, conducted in late July, was 38%. Just over a third of voters were undecided, including nearly half of voters 60 and older. When undecided voters were pushed to choose a candidate, Hong's lead grew to 46%. Crowley, who was moved into second place since Barnes dropped out, is hitting the trail with Evers. Crowley is backed by Evers, and on Friday was endorsed by U.S. Rep. Gwen Moore, a veteran congresswoman from Milwaukee. While Francesca Hong is rallying people who are already in her corner, David Crowley is traveling across the state to meet undecided voters where they are, Crowley spokesperson said on August 2nd. David will continue to reach them this week with a message centered on experience, results, and winning in November. Dude, the establishment has the same formula. It's really funny. It's like, hey, I know that like the times are unstable and people are very frustrated with the way things have gone so far, business as usual politics. But here's more of that for you. Like, they don't understand that. I think people, when they run with this, like, I have experience, I'm not the shake-up candidate, what they're literally communicating to the voters is like, I'm just going to do the same shit that we've been doing already. If you like the shit that we've been doing already that gave you Donald Trump twice, then that's good. Vote for me. And they just genuinely do not understand it. And obviously I don't want to give them any, tips right now. So keep on keeping on. All right. Nothing will fundamentally change. That is the message. And I love that. That's a great message. That is truly a banger message for you guys. I think you should keep doing that. Okay. That's my attitude. The only problem I found with Fran is that she's too soft spoken. She got to get tough in the general. Yeah. She's very affable. She's great doing retail politics. She's great at that. She's great on one-on-one with voters. She's very soft spoken. I agree. But, if it works, it works. I think she'll be fine. Han called on her supporters to be radically welcoming to people who aren't ready for democratic socialism, but otherwise didn't cater to the middle in front of her base. At one point, Han said she would meet U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement with the force and fury required to keep us all safe. The crowd responded with a ice chant. Emma Don, the first-time voter, said she doesn't see Hong as shifting on policy, but shifting in how she addresses voters. She said Hong going on Fox News is exactly what she should be doing right now. The fact that she's able to code switch and talk in a different way to maybe help them understand what she's doing is really good, Emma Don said. Hopefully, she's going to get a lot more national attention after the Michigan elections are done. I want the national eye to be on this movement. Early in-person absentee voting is underway through next Sunday in the August 11th election, which features the party primaries for governor and some state legislature and congressional seats. Speaking of what's retail politics, like going out to state fairs, kissing babies, that kind of stuff. Like being out with voters, going to the retail storefronts. In 30 minutes, we're going to launch a phone bank. And then after we launch a phone bank, I will be going out to canvass as well. Tony Evers is trying to play kingmaker in Wisconsin's governor's race. So far, it's not working. One Dem donor said he's leaving the party after Evers' despicable lame duck period and decision to endorse David Crowley. Nice. Are you going to be on CNN later tonight? Yes. This is the most entertaining Yeah, this is a funny moment. Hutch changes his mind about blue no matter who.
I'm almost ready to say, you know what? I'm not even going to, the blue no matter who rhetoric, I'm not doing it anymore. Because it feels like unilateral disarmament, doesn't it? First of all, how much of that particular term is helping the discourse? I have never in all my years on the internet ever once witnessed a productive exchange about the concept of
blue, but it matters who? Root for DSA to lose? Wow. That's so strange. That's so strange, dude. That's such a strange phenomenon. Turns out this guy is just like, ideologically a neoliberal. I was wrong about this. I didn't realize that he was. The guy who said he would rather vote for Jeffrey Epstein instead of me is now saying it's not vote blue no matter who. That's the new sex pest in meta. Root for Abdul and Fran to lose. Oh my God. Why did these guys literally position themselves on the losing side of every issue? This is what happens when it's just like personal spite and resentment are what drive your politics. It's crazy because this is Hasan derangement syndrome through and through. But what I find very odd about it isn't that it's just like online weirdos now. Now you got like party bosses, old bosses. I get D, but why does Hutch hate you? Because Hutch is basically the Destiny rider. That's why.
Every time it's ever come up in my experience, every time I've ever witnessed it come up in other spaces, it's always a shit show. And, it's just, I can't stomach people like Kyle and Crystal weaponizing the concept of blue no matter who.
Wait. Weaponizing the concept of blue no matter who. So it's not, so you're doing that.
To benefit their preferred candidates when these people were never about that life. It's so disingenuous that I don't think it's productive to even push it anymore. You know what I mean? That particular phrasing. I think it's about time we retire it and just be like, you know what? Let's just all stop pretending like this is something that's,
But this was the logical extent of vote blue no matter who. So I guess he's still consistent on that.
We're
No,
talking
it
about a guy
shows
who-
you think Hassan is worse than Jeffrey Epstein. That's what it shows you,
Who
Hutch.
brought Jeffrey
That's what it
Epstein
shows
into
you.
this? What is Jeffrey
You
Epstein?
did when you said I
you
would Jeffrey Epstein over fucking JD Vance.
Tell me, what is Jeffrey Epstein's policy platform?
Dude, you don't need.
That's a fair question, isn't it? Isn't that relevant to the analysis?
Like even his audience is like, Hutch, Epstein children, you moron. Like that's what one of his chatters was saying at that point. Like,
I don't know anything about Jeffrey Epstein's politics. Would he push for a public option? Is he a Medicare for all kind of person? I don't know anything about his politics. The reason why I would not necessarily disqualify Jeffrey Epstein electorally is because first we would have to establish if he supports liberal democracy. Because the whole thing with Hasan is that he doesn't. And I had people in my own chat last night that thought I was being ridiculous. Why am I being ridiculous when we're talking about Hasan Piker? Do you trust that he would not nuke Israel? Do you trust that he would not help China invade Taiwan? I'm crazy for being worried about
help China invade Taiwan. Like I'm gonna swim over there, over the strait, dude. What the? This is Hasan with derangement syndrome through and through.
our nation's secrets. If we gave power to Hasan Piker, I'm the crazy one who's like, I don't know, what's Jeffrey Epstein?
Yes. Someone said yes. This guy's like, I would rather vote for Jeffrey Epstein over any Republican. Then doubles down and says that he would rather vote for Jeffrey Epstein over me, and now is saying vote blue no matter who. Like, it turns out you just want to vote for Jeffrey Epstein, I guess. Like, if I was the Democratic candidate, it seems he would actually, if I was a Democratic candidate and Jeffrey Epstein, hypothetically, was alive, you know, famous pedophile Jeffrey Epstein was running as like an independent, Hutch would literally vote for Jeffrey Epstein. Well, at some point, we just got to realize, at some point, that just means you want to vote for Jeffrey Epstein. That's it. That's your preference. You're just pro Jeffrey Epstein, like pro voting for him. Maybe you're pro his platform, which I suspect is about lowering the age of consent. Like, I don't know what else Jeffrey Epstein is like really known for. He's being an elite pedophile. So it's really funny that he's like, actually vote blue no matter who. It doesn't work anymore. Sorry, it doesn't work for me anymore.
Policy position when he glorifies the current Chinese Communist Party as like a model of government. I'm the crazy one. Somebody who idolizes Vladimir Lenin, and I'm the crazy one because I don't want to live under an authoritarian leftist regime.
Hutch is a single issue voter. He's pro Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, that's so funny. Anyway, so yeah, the knives are out for our girl, Francesca Hong. So we got to do our very best to keep smiling and dialing. U.S. Rep. Haley Stevens had her John McCain moment earlier today when a man told her, "We know you're going to kick that Muslim's butt. Look, that's not what my campaign is about," Stevens told Grant Schwab. If that's not what your campaign is about, why are your voters saying stuff like that? If you have a New York Times subscription, you're one of the big 5 moments in the Michigan State primary. Wait, what? Yeah, I'm wondering why your voters are gravitating towards that kind of sentiment. Interesting. Do we have a paywall remover on this too, or no? I would like to read the 5 big moments in the Michigan Democratic Senate primary. 5 big moments in Michigan's Democratic Senate primary. Divisions over Israel and high-profile endorsements have shaped the closely watched race between progressive former public health official and a more moderate member of Congress. Michigan's marquee Democratic Senate primary has had twists and turns, heated exchanges, viral moments, and tens of millions of dollars in outsized spending. On Tuesday, voters will have their say in the race between Representative Haley Stevens, a moderate, and Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, a progressive former public health official. The outcome could affect the battle for the Senate majority and the future of the party. Prominent Democrats from Michigan and elsewhere have been divided over the candidates whose differences mirror broader intra-party frictions over Israel, electability, and other matters. Polling conducted over the last month has suggested uncertainty in the race. Most recently, several public polls have shown Dr. El-Sayed leading. Here's a look at some of the biggest moments from the campaign. Hasan Piker walks past supporters in a rally in support of Mr. El-Sayed's campaign in East Lansing in April. Hasan Piker campaigns for El-Sayed. In April, Dr. El-Sayed rallied at 2 Michigan universities with Hasan Piker, provocative left-wing streamer with a large following. among young progressives. The move injected energy into Dr. El-Sayed's campaign and drew some backlash, crystallizing some of the sharpest fault lines in the race. Some Democrats have condemned Mr. Piker's statements about the Israeli government and its war in Gaza. He previously said it doesn't matter what happened in the Hamas-led October 7 attack on Israel, later adding that in an interview with the New York Times that it doesn't make the genocide acceptable. No, I didn't add that later in the interview. That was in a conversation. That was in conversation. And with the additional context, it was very obvious that was what I was saying. Jesus Christ, whatever. The New York Times, Mr. Piker once said that America deserved the September 11th terrorist attacks, later apologizing for their comment. Ms. Stevens said after the rallies were announced that it was unacceptable for Dr. El-Sayed to campaign with Mr. Piker. Another candidate, Mallory McGraw, who has since ended her campaign, also criticized Dr. El-Sayed at the time, a move that ultimately hurt her pitch to progressives and helped them consolidate support on the left. Dr. El-Sayed defended the decision, arguing that Mr. Piker represented a critical younger demographic. I'm not a politician, and I won't stop talking to everyone else who they've locked out, he said in a statement. AIPAC jumps into the race and tensions rise. Dude, that's crazy. It's like 5 big moments and they put mine as the first. AIPAC jumps into the race and tensions rise. In early June, the main super PAC of the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, the country's most powerful pro-Israel group, started a multi-million-dollar ad campaign backing Ms. Stevens. The spending has been a consistent point of tension in the contest, with Dr. El-Sayed frequently criticizing AIPAC and his support for Ms. Stevens. In a debate on Monday night, Ms. Stevens and Dr. El-Sayed clashed over the influx of outside money. The main super PAC for AIPAC has so far spent more than $30 million boosting Ms. Stevens, according to data from the media tracking firm AdImpact. Tensions erupted again on Thursday after Dr. El-Sayed said AIPAC had chosen to back the least capable candidate in America, referring to Ms. Stevens in an interview with the online magazine Muslim Girl. In response, Ms. Stevens accused Dr. El-Sayed of wanting to blame all your problems on Jewish Americans. On Saturday, Dr. El-Sayed was critical of Ms. Stevens' comment and told reporters, at the end of the day, I love and revere Judaism and the Jewish people. The candidates are at stark odds over United States support for Israel. Dr. El-Sayed said Israel should not exist as an explicitly Jewish state and has advocated ending U.S. financial assistance to the country. Ms. Stevens supports continuing U.S. military aid to Israel without conditions. Earlier this year, Ms. Stevens was booed at the state Democratic Convention by activists unhappy with her support for Israel. Yeah, state Democratic Convention. By activists, you mean party officials. McMorrow then suspended her campaign. Stick it to him. Stevens goes viral and her accent comes under scrutiny. The candidates clinch high-profile endorsements. I'm just shocked that they talked about her accent, but not that Israel comes to me in my dreams. Do these people ever get tired of being wrong consistently? This would be a more plausible argument if Stevens weren't such a demonstrably terrible candidate. She imploded in the primaries, and if she were the nominee, would likely implode there as well. El-Sayed carries risks, but nowhere near as many as Stevens. Jonathan Chait, is there a single El-Sayed supporter with enough self-awareness to admit that they're willing to accept a higher risk of defeat to elect a left-wing candidate? It's very funny that they are just like, yeah. El-Sayed has otherwise been deliberately unapologetic, standing by positions even when they go beyond where some think median voters seem to be. He refused to back down on campaigning with Schumer Hasan Piker, who said America deserves September 11. A comment Piker has since said he regrets and has called Mao Zedong one of the great leaders of the world, a man who changed the entire universe. Boom, 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 boom. Attack ad after attack ad. He already deflected away from this. He already literally went, whew. He already judo chopped this, okay? So any kind of like additional, well, you see, he's with Hasan Piker is not going to work. It's just not going to work. Yeah, here are the Michigan voters' phrases for the word cloud for Haley Stevens, by the way. When respondents are asked what, if anything, they've heard, seen, read recently about Haley Stevens, here are the most common words and phrases they use. Corporate, money, AIPAC, take, support, Israel. I'm noticing that receipts are not one of the words, which is interesting. I'm noticing that receipts are not one of the words. I'm noticing that stick it to them is not a word in the cloud, which is strange because this means that she was defined by us. This means that she was defined by what we wanted her to be defined as, which is, by the way, fair, right? AIPAC should be exactly what defines her, considering that it's the largest outside spender on this race to the tune of $35 million. But this is what Republicans do very effectively towards Democrats, just so you understand. Democrats, corporate Democrats who cannot define themselves by policies will get defined by their opposition. Now let's look at Abdul's Medicare, money, women. This obviously has been a negative ad campaign saying Abdul is bad, okay? I'm noticing that a word that Abdul is not defined by, or rather a tiny word in the word cloud is Hasan. Perhaps that wasn't a very good line of attack. Hasan. Tony's still promoting the doc. I saw. So yeah, this word cloud is a perfect demonstration of the benefits of having policies. When you have policies that you can be defined by, you get to define your own candidacy. When you're just a corporate Democrat, utterly devoid of policies, you are endlessly definable by your opposition. This is a big part of the reason why Democrats lose, okay? This is why they lose all the time. Here's a candidate who's defining herself aggressively, Francesca Hong.
Abolishing the Defense
Well,
Department.
I'm going to be doing a phone bank for in a second. We're going to kickstart that, and then we're going to go out to canvas outside.
Abolishing the Supreme Court, which are all part of the platform. But there are some bread and butter issues that I want to ask you about that are also in the DSA platform. And it's under a headline, "A Day Without Capitalism." And I'm going to read it. Speaking of bills, you don't really have them anymore. You have no debt, you don't have health insurance, you don't pay a mortgage or have a landlord. Food, education, energy, medicine, and transportation aren't for-profit businesses. They are common goods and utilities. Would these be your goals if you were governor of Wisconsin?
I was a small business owner for over 7 years, and I believe in organizing worker power and unions as well. And I think it's important to recognize the practical and sensible solutions that we need right now. And that's permanent affordability. That's ensuring that we've got healthy school meals in our school, that we're raising the minimum wage, that we ensure paid leave, and that everyone has access to fair, cheaper healthcare across our state. And we're building affordable housing. Folks are excited when I talk about a public bank that allows people to actually build more affordable housing, create good union construction jobs, and make sure that our small businesses can thrive.
Yeah, and I that makes perfect sense. But you said this morning that you pay dues to the Democratic Socialist Party, and what they are talking about, at least in part of their platform, is, I mean, it sounds a little bit utopian. I don't know. It depends where your point of view is, that food, education, energy, medicine, transportation would be common goods and utilities.
Hold on.
Is that your ultimate goal? I understand the political realities of being in a purple state, but if you could, would those be the kinds of policies you would be able to implement?
Yeah, whatever you think about Hasan Piker, he's using his platform to campaign for candidates in ways no one else really ever has before. Iowa streams of candidates for hours, raising thousands of dollars. Yeah. I was talking to someone in the media about this as well. Like what's really interesting. The guy who's been with me this whole time. Wait, the glasses are fake? No, they're not. I have to wear them to see. Like, a lot of journalists would flip to have this level of unprecedented access to these campaigns. Like a lot of media would, and we just not only do we get this level of access, but we also, why does your neck look so long, homie? It's because you've only seen it with the shirt for the longest time. But what's really interesting about it is like because I'm like working with these campaigns as well, like there's a level of established trust, obviously. So we get to not only like participate in these campaigns in very meaningful ways, which is great, but also from a simple media perspective, like you get to see something very different that the media is never capable of showing, because no campaign will ever normally allow a live broadcast to take place behind closed doors where candidates are just like chilling, and you get to see like the behind the scenes of a campaign like this. And it's very interesting because like a lot of people don't even understand how unprecedented that is. And of course it also adds to the authenticity. It also adds to the authenticity of these campaigns. Like, can you imagine like Haley Stevens doing something like that? Would Haley Stevens be able to have a live broadcast of her entire process, just like having normal conversations with a person from the media? Just not going to happen. No politician could survive on live streams. Zoran was exceptional. I mean, all the politicians I'm hanging out with have been. Dude, this shit was
We
so
only got
hot.
a couple days remaining,
And yeah, let's go out and knock on some doors. I'm very excited to do this with you. Can we get a pit flash, mister? No. Democratic socialism will take over. What is this? Ipsos poll released 7/24 to 7/31. Democrat sampled. Would you prefer a Democrat or a Democratic Socialist? Democrat, 57%. Democratic Socialist, 38%. For the no college, Democrat is +9. For college, Dem Socialist is +9. Age 18 to 34, Dem Socialist is +9. Age 35 to 54, Dem Socialist is +9. Age 55, Democrat is +19. White, Dem Socialist +1. Non-white, Democrat +1. That's pretty good. This is a winning coalition. It's crazy when you think about it. Yeah, this is pretty wild. It is legitimately insane that this is the extent of support Hong has had all cycle, and she's likely winning the Wisconsin governor Dem primary by double digits. Yeah, I mean, that's a testament to how powerful DSA is out here, and it's a testament to how powerful Hong's campaign is. Because she's been, I mean, she's great. She's phenomenal. It's very clear that her message is resonating with a lot of voters here. And there's good reason. She's charismatic. She's affable. She's personable. Yeah, I do think the left's momentum within the Democratic Party is unstoppable so long as the center continues offering absolutely nothing beyond being anti-left. But Michigan Senate and Wisconsin governor is easily the most important elections the left has ever had. If we win, every narrative crumbles. Yeah. And if we lose, yes, there will be lots of explanations, including that Americans are really Islamophobic. Al-Assad is a very Arab name, but ultimately our credibility is still on the line. We cannot afford to lose races like this. No pressure. Yeah. Gustavo is bringing the big guns. LaGuardia going to Detroit, and everyone on the flight is going to Canvas. We got planes. Dude, NYC DSA loves elections, okay? I'm telling you right now, this is their opportunity. They nut. If boomers nut every time they vote, okay, DSA NYC nuts every time there is any election whatsoever where they can door knock or they can canvas or they can phone bank, okay? They literally love it. They live for it. It is crazy. I've never seen anything like it, okay? I've never seen anything like it. They love elections. Straight up. There is no force in the country like the DSA right. There is no force in the country like the DSA right that loves getting other people to vote. Do voters not think it's odd that the establishment Dems and establishment media have not attacked the Republican challengers? Rather, they only attack the left flank? I don't think they think about it like that. Chatter was correct. Before you leave for Michigan, you need to order from Culver's. The fries, the fish, the hamburgers, and the chicken are so delicious. Yeah, I know. James Carville vows to abandon the Democratic Party. Democrat Party. If far left Hasan Piker becomes leading voice. Let's take a look at that. Did I even watch this on stream yet? We were running around so much that I didn't even get to react to this. I saw it this morning. It was awesome. Yeah, this is what I posted.
So where should Democrats draw the line on this stuff?
Whatever Scott Galloway says, I believe it. I think that he's one of the smartest, most cogent, brilliant analysts there is. And I'm not sure what to understand what Madame is doing, but to talk about the larger Democratic Party post the election in Michigan going forward, I am not going to be in the same party with Hasan Piker. I can tell you that right now. If he becomes a force in the Democratic Party, I'm out of here.
Wait a minute. What do you mean? No. Well, what will we do without James Carville, who hasn't won a race since 1999, who's married to a Dick Cheney staffer or a Dick Cheney consultant, whose brilliant message to the Democrats, which, by the way, I thank James Carville every day for this one, was to just show your belly. Show your belly to the Republicans. Allow the Republicans to run amok and to remind voters that harm reduction does matter at the end of the day. And that is what frustrated, I think, a lot of the Barbers and the Debras in the party who were like, what the f*** are you guys doing? Like, these guys are destroying the country and you're not doing anything. So that was the final nail in the coffin. That is what made a lot of Democrats realize that there's no help coming from these assholes. And it made it a lot easier for us to do our advocacy. So yeah, thank you, James Carville.
No intention of ever being in the same political party with that guy. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that overwhelming majority of Democrats agree with me But this idea that we're going to seize the means of production and just go look at the DSA platform. You don't have to look any further than that. And, Jackie, it may be that the two-party system is just going to be under tremendous stress.
Dude, Bill Maher, John Fetterman, and then John Lesserman. I mean, literally John Fetterman on Ozempic. These are some of the worst people, dude. It's awesome. These are some of the worst scumbags. So if they're out, who's going to miss them? Yeah, from John Fetterman to John Slenderman. Carville looks like those hyper-realistic face masks.
Here in the coming months, I mean, you see it in with Tucker and Margella Green, and on the Republican side, you see it going on right.
Margella Green? Margella Green. What is a Margella Green? Margella.
Right now, and I can't sit here and tell you for certain how this is going to turn out, but the one thing I can tell you for certain, Hasan Piker and James Carville are not going to be in the same political party. One of us is going to leave. It might even be me.
Hasan Piker. Rhoda is wrong. He consulted for Ehud Barak.
Democratic Socialists did very well in a New York primary last week, and now establishment Democrats are losing their shit. Namely this gentleman, James Carville. If you're not familiar with James Carville, you're probably thinking, oh, are they doing a production of American History X at a
Mike is already outside.
Residential hospice facility, and he's playing the lead. No, he's actually a Democratic strategist, a kind of centrist Voldemort. And he has got his testicular girdle in a twist about these DSA candidates. And I would just respectfully invite James Carville to shut the f*** up. You fucking Palantir Jack Skellington motherfucker. This dude is like, he looks like if you put Tommy Lee Jones in the dishwasher and then found out that he was hand wash only, because this is what came out. He started talking about a schism, how there needs to be a schism in the party so he doesn't have to associate with the likes of the DSA. I would suggest to James Carville, how about a schism between you and any future public appearances? How about that? That'd be a schism I think we could all get behind. How about a schism from the man who looks like ancient jism? He starts listing.
This guy's so awesome. I don't know why he's so based. Like, I don't know how this happened. I don't know where it came from. But he's just so sick. He's so dope.
The things that are deal breakers for him. And that's not how it works. The electorate is telling you what they want. You don't respond by telling them your deal breakers. That's like if somebody were to dump you and you were to respond by saying, okay, but I am not going to be your boyfriend anymore unless you listen to my clarinet covers of Radiohead songs without checking your phone and you peg me more than just on my birthday. It's not a good strategy. I'm speaking from experience here. Some of these Democratic Socialists have said some crazy shit, to be fair, but I would much rather have somebody who has some fight and some conviction in these seats than consultant bred, focus group fed, AIPAC sugar daddy, do nothing, manufactured opposition, horseshit establishment Democrats. That's what I would prefer. And Bill Maher is also upset about it. Bill Maher, who also just won a Mark Twain Award, which is appropriate because he has a lot in common with Mark Twain, and that most of their original fans have passed away, and they both feel very comfortable using the N-word. So
that's amazing. All right.
I think if the likes of Bill Maher and James Carville are upset, then we're probably turning over a new leaf, and it's something to be celebrated. So, mazel tov, everybody.
Beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode.